What's up, Shady Sports Network? I'm back here with a special guest, Mr. Mannie Stewart of the Steel City Stampede. Mannie, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, you just wrapped up the season in the AL2. It's a fairly new league. A lot of leadership changes. Antonio Brown's baby mama was once the CEO of that league. So, how do you think the league has improved as a whole?
Um, I think as a whole it improved the teams that we had. The teams that we had, they were solid teams. There was a lot of competition in the league. Um, Overall, it was in indoor football, you don't always get the best show. You know what I mean? So when you get something that's decent, you take it in and you run with it. In the AAL this year, they did that. They didn't really have too many, behind the back rules or too many things going on. I mean, there were some things here and there, but that's what everywhere. But for the most part, like I said, it was cool. I don't really have too many negative things to say besides the the awards at the end of the year.
Yeah, that was questionable. I didn't even follow the league, and I knew those awards were kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um, but kind of looking at your future, do you expect to be back with your team that you played with this year? Or are you trying to head somewhere else?
I would always love to head somewhere else and go to a higher level. But if that for whatever reason doesn't happen, I would definitely be back with the Stampede. That's like home. Bunch of those guys I played over there. I played with this year. I played over in Reading with the Raptors back in the day. So that's like family. You know what I mean? I think that's why the team did so well for a first year team that was just thrown into a league with like 8 weeks before the season started and wound up going to the championship, only losing one game in the chip. So um, again, if I don't make it to a different level, I'll definitely be back with the Stampede. But the plan is to go to a higher level.
Definitely. So, kind of going all the way back to your high school career,
hmm
were you a multi-sport athlete in high school?
I was. I played football and I ran track. I played basketball till I was a freshman, but I wound up dropping basketball to run indoor track. I was more of a track guy. For me, speed was everything, and so I took that route. I ran track pretty much all through the year, and then during football season, I focused on football.
That's awesome to hear. Multi-sport. I encourage every high school kid, to play multi-sport. I mean, I'm a high school kid and I play multi-sport, so I think it's great. Um, so kind of going after high school, when you rode with football, what was your college recruiting process like?
So I had, excuse me, I had a scholarship to Syracuse. I got unofficially offered my junior year, and going into my senior year, I got an official offer, but I wound up tearing my ACL. Um, the last game of my junior year, and my senior season didn't go as planned. So that, along with some life things, I wound up having I had wound up having two kids my senior year. Well, going into my senior year, so for that, I went to junior college. I went to Nassau Junior College for a semester. That didn't really pan out too well, and then I jumped right into the semi-pro field at like 19, and from there, I kind of just climbed my way up. I bounced around a little bit, um, tried to find my way, got with a couple good groups of people who I learned a lot of good things from, and then just kind of took it from there, and got a few opportunities and took those opportunities. Um, this off season that just happened before I was with the Stampede. Um, I played over in Costa Rica with the CFL Sharks, a few semi-pro games, and also had few opportunities to go overseas to play in like Korea. And again, I had to stay home off season. But that's pretty much where I am right now. And that's why I still have the mindset to still go to a different level because there's still opportunity there. I've had the opportunities, just what's my time as far as life.
For sure. That's really great to hear. And so I have to mention that, two kids at that age, how did you balance that with school and sports?
I had a good support system, honestly. My mom's she held it down when I had my kids at that time. She pretty much let me still be a kid, you know. Um, and pretty much held down the grandparent, taught me how to be a parent at that young age and everything like that. So my dad and I got a lot of siblings. You know, everybody pretty much helped me. I'm the youngest, well, second youngest. I'm the youngest boy. I got a little sister, but all my siblings are all older than me. They all helped me out. You know, again, I just had a good support system. You know, just well-rounded family that was always there. That, you know, they spoil my kids like crazy. So all of them, I got 5 now, but they spoil all of them still to this day. So, you know, I'm just gifted in that aspect. You know, to have a great support system.
You have a big family for sure. I mean, 5 kids now. So, what does that look like on a day-to-day routine? I'm kind of interested.
On a day-to-day routine. Well, now they're all in there. I have 3 teenagers and two babies. The babies are 5 and 2. So the babies and my preteen, they go to summer camp. So they're in summer camp for the day. Um, the two older teenagers, they're just in the house. My older daughter, she runs track. Excuse me for the noise. She runs track and field. She does year round, and then my son, he plays football. So for him, it's training in the morning around 10 o'clock. We hit the field, we go train, and then take him home. Then around 12:30, my daughter, she hits the field. I mean, she hits the track when she's with me. When she's with her mother, then she has a set trainer that she goes with over there. And then around 3 o'clock, I pick up the babies and we start the day. Whether it's football practice, whether for me or my younger daughter, she plays travel AAU basketball, so she's all over the place. We're always on the court training with her. So it's it's hectic some days, but it always involves sports some way somehow. So it's not as hectic as it could be, you know.
So, training, I mean, with your kids, that must give you so much joy as a parent. Like, you must love that. How much value do you take in training with your kids?
I love training my kids. You know, that's what I do for a living. I run a sports advancement agency where the motto is we take good athletes, we make them great athletes. We take mediocre athletes, we make them great athletes. We take great athletes and we make them even better athletes, not just as athletes, but as people, you know? So I get the joy out of training the kids because the kids, you know, they accept was given to them, but they also accept it in a life form. It's not always about sports. You know what I mean? We teach life through sports. Sports is just like another alley to learn life lessons and everything like that. So for me, that's one of the biggest things because I get to get out and reach so many different kids and so many different, you know, aspects of life, you know, that I relate to or that have things going on that it's just really an outlet for them, not only just for the sports aspect, but for the mental aspect. You know, we love to give back to the community and to teach the kids what we didn't have or what we did have or what we learn now so that it could better the community so that they can teach the youth and so we could just keep on going until eventually we get to a better place.
So, now, I mean, I have to ask, if you go overseas, are all
Hmm.
5 kids coming with you? Or what are you doing with that?
It all depends. It all depends where, honestly. Like if it were to be, like I said, I had opportunities in Korea. If it were to be in Korea over that far, I don't think any would come. I think they would all stay home. Just because of school purposes and sports purposes and everything like that. If it was somewhere more local, maybe like in the Mexico area, you know, I have outlets down in Texas that the kids can get to, that they'd be set up for schooling and sports and the family and everybody would be good down there. So it all depends, honestly. It all depends.
I mean, you're a man of many trades. You know, you're a full time father, business owner. I mean, I find it really commendable that you're involved with so many things. So I
Thank you.
got a lot of respect for that.
Thank you.
But owning your own business,
Hmm.
you know, how did you come up with the idea, and how do you go about the day to day operations of that?
I came up with the idea kind of over the years. I started training people when I was 19. Um, a good friend of mine, he came to me one day. His younger brother was like a junior in high school, good talent, and but just needed some guidance. And just based off of my you know, my past and everything like that, and playing football, knowing him for years, he asked me to work out with him and give him some knowledge, and it just kind of started there. Started with running hills and getting the body in shape, and I just gradually grew over the years. I was 19. I just turned 33 2 days ago. So that was about 14 years ago, almost 15 years that I started. But the business Purebred, I started that 2019. I started it 2020. It became official right before COVID. COVID kind of, I won't say COVID hurt us. It actually helped us because we were able to, while everybody was in quarantine, we were still able to, with social distancing, still be able to do solo trainings with kids and everything like that. We were able to have kids on the field in small groups once they gave us those different, how can I say it, those freedoms, so to speak. We were able to do that. But as far as running it, I run it how I run my career, really, or how I run my training process. I've always trained at a higher level since I was a kid. I've always had my dad he had tryouts for the Yankees and everything like that. So I've always been around pro style athletes, pro style training. So I've always had that as a kid, and I just pretty much incorporate that in my everyday. So a lot of the kids, which we have 73 athletes ranging from ages 4 to like 20, 22, a couple older guys, but a lot of the kids, they follow a pro style training just as at a youth level. Like, we don't push them to the certain standards that we would push an adult. We don't push the younger kids to a certain standards that we push the high school kids. There's levels to every level. There's levels. You know what I mean? So we give them the knowledge and what they can recept and what they can incorporate. They automatically adjust to it. And the other things, it takes time. So they're always in that program. So when they do get to that age, that high school level, that college level, they're where they need to be mentally and physically so that they can perform at their highest level. So again, as far as running it, it's, to me, it's just another part of life. It doesn't really, I don't really look at it as running it, because it's something of my everyday life. It's just, honestly, it's just life to me. It's something that I love to do.
So I have this question for you. As a multi-sport athlete myself, obviously, training sometimes it's hard. You kind of want to slip it under the rug. You want to go play video games. What do you think is a realistic number of hours a multi-sport athlete should train for a week?
A week? Out of season, at least 2 days, 5 times a week. I mean, 2 hours, 5 days a week. So you're at least 10 hours, minimal. When you're in season, for me, most of my athletes are football players. So they're looking at my younger guys. They have a 2-hour practice. So we still get an hour and a half workout in early in the morning. My older guys, they're doing doubles. So they're looking at somewhere between 3 to 5 hours of practice themselves. So we normally get about 45 to an hour workout in at the end of the day. So again, it really depends on what season you're in and what sport you're playing. You know what I mean? Because you definitely don't want to abuse the body. You know what I mean? You'll abuse the body, and by the time the season's over, you'll be shot, and you'll be better in the beginning than you were at the end, and that's not what you want to do. You want to progress as the season goes. So if you're putting in 10 hours a week, I feel like you're in good standings. But if you're in season, I tell my athletes, you still gotta put in that extra work, because if you're just doing what the rest of the team's doing, then you're gonna be just as basic as the rest of the team. That's no disrespect to the rest of the team, but everybody wants to be that dog. Everybody wants to be the number one. So you have to do something to be that number one. And to be that number one, you got to put the extra work in. So you should definitely be putting in 5 hours extra during the week after your practices total, at least anywhere from 5 to 7 without burnout. You know what I mean?
So I definitely got to get on my grind, and those extra hours are important. Do you consider like watching film as part of those extra hours too?
Yes and no. Reason I say yes, because that's practice. You know what I mean? That's the all sports are 80% mental, 20% physical. You know what I mean? So you need that mental part, and film is definitely that mental part. So you know what? I'm gonna take out the no, and I'm gonna say, yeah, film is included in that, but you don't want to cheat yourself physically by just saying, oh, I'm tied in the film room, I don't have time to do the extra, I'm just in the film room 10 hours. Because at the end of the day, you want to watch enough film, but you don't want to overwatch. You don't want to get on the field and overthink and not be able to do it physically and overdo it mentally. You want to be able to balance it out. You know what I mean? So film is definitely part of that extra hours, but with a balance.
So Manny, I mean, it's been great having you on. My final question for you is, you're pumping out like dogs, you know, with your training, and you're gonna have so many successful athletes from it. What do you think what keeps you motivated to keep training kids? And what do you think is the biggest lesson that you can teach the kids that you train?
What keeps me motivated is just the kids themselves. You know what I mean? There's kids all over the place that are less fortunate than another kid. There's kids that need this or need that, and being that I have the outlet to give them a lot of those things. Obviously, I don't have everything, but just to more so be able to create a home that these athletes have, that these kids have, you know, inside and outside of sports. You know, we're a family, and you know, my doors and everybody else that's associated with us, doors are always open for everybody. And I think that's one of the biggest things that motivate me to keep continuing to be able to do that. The biggest thing I tell my kids is keep going. You know what I mean? We have a saying, train like you're second best if you want to be the best, because, you know, the people at the top, they've reached that point, and either you're going to continue to be that or you're going to become complacent. When you're that dog, that number 2, you want what number 1 has. So you're always, you might put that extra hour in. Instead of putting 5 hours in like number 1 is, you're putting that 10 hours in. You're putting that extra hour in a day. You know what I mean? So if you always keep that type of dog mentality, you'll always be on top. If number 2 can't outwork you, you're always going to be number 1.
You took the words right out of my mouth. You know, that was really good to hear. And, you know, it's really important, you know, that you're giving back to the youth. I'm sure it means a lot to them, man. Keep grinding. I look forward to see what's next for you, you know, whether it's overseas, in the States, or whatever it may be. Where can people find you on social media?
Social media, my Facebook is Mannie Purebred Stewart. Instagram is Instagram is Purebred _athletics 13. That's pretty much where I'm at. Facebook and Instagram. I post a lot on Instagram as far as like my workouts and my training and everything like that. Facebook too, but Facebook is more for communications and everything like that. But you definitely find me on Instagram.
Definitely, man. Well, best of luck. You know, keep in touch, and I look forward to see what you have in store.
I thank you. I appreciate you for having me on.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.